I wonder how I should make this sketch essentially. So I'll probably use a set in the snow. I know. Let's go outside and do the sketch there. Great idea. No, no, no. No, this doesn't work. Let's go back in. Oh boy. Oh. Oh, thought this was a good idea. Damn it. I'm back. And it was interesting outside there. Anyway, hello and welcome to another review here on my channel. Today we're going to look at South Park, the fractured but whole. I see what I did there. Anyway, this is essentially you can call it an adaptation of the South Park TV series essentially, and it's made by the same people, which is essentially Troy Baker and Trey Parker, I think they named. Anyway, this game was delayed I think at least twice from its initial release, which was in 2016 I think. It was supposed to be released in March of last year, but was eventually released in October of 2017. And yeah, what more can be said? I don't know. So let's just jump right into it. South Park, the Fractured but Whole, are essentially set directly after its predecessor, which is the Stick of Truth, essentially. And you essentially playing the new kid in town, and right now the kids in South Park are essentially playing superheroes and are trying to create their own shared universe thing, kinda in the style of Marvel, yeah. But you essentially start off directly in a fight when they essentially play the Stick of Truth kind of thing game in the beginning of the game. Then you slowly but well almost directly turn into the superhero part, which this entire game are based on essentially. And yeah, you later find out that you're going to try to figure out where a cat is, which is essentially how this game essentially starts. You are trying to find a cat and get the reward of $100. And they're trying to figure out what is happening, where the cat goes, and you figure out some weird stuff actually happening in town. And that is essentially the game. You will also see some twists that, well, I didn't see that coming, but it's a twist, no, nonetheless. Overall, the storyline, in my opinion, are interesting, but at the same time a little bit, in the end it goes a little bit weird for South Park, and they are essentially turning the whole story around that you, the new kid, essentially are a messiah with fart powers. Yes. So yeah, that is kind of the storyline, and I think it is interesting for the most part, but a little bit weird in the end, essentially. As its predecessor, it is essentially a turn-based strategy game, essentially, but at the same time it is a lot simpler than a strategy game. Each of you, well, essentially, when you jump into a fight, you essentially have turns with all the heroes you essentially have at the moment. Sometimes you are only one character, and for most you are 4 characters essentially. And sometimes you will change between the 4 characters during the same fight. You have 4 moves you can essentially choose between, and items menu essentially. 3 of the things, well, choices of the powers you can use, essentially you can use all the time. Then the fourth one is essentially a superpower that you can only use when the bar at the top of the screen essentially turns 100%, which you get by either turn-based, turn time based, sorry, I can't pronounce it anyway, you know what I mean, I hope. Time based button mashing essentially, and essentially just playing or fighting. Each of the characters have their own different powers, but your character, you can essentially create your own style with taken from different types of hero powers that you will get throughout the game. And yeah, the game also is an RPG. Essentially, it is a turn-based RPG. You will get some go around doing main quests for the most part, but you also have some side quests here and there. But when I played, I didn't find that many and thought that I probably missed a lot of them. But the ones that are there are okay for the most part, and I think the gameplay are more fast-paced than well, not as more fast-paced, it is more interesting in the strategy kind of type, but are a little bit more slower when it comes to actually overall gameplay, in my opinion. Enemies in this game are it isn't that different from previous game. It is more real, if you can call it that. You have ninjas, you have the freedom pals, which you sometimes will join and sometimes you will not be with. You also have the rednecks, you have all these weird fights essentially, but for the most part it is real characters in the South Park game series. It isn't really supernatural for the most part, what I can recall. It is just some weird experiments sometimes in the game that are a little bit weird, but for the most part, yeah. The enemies for me are good and interesting. The characters in the game are essentially directly taken from the TV series and put into the game and they changed them in order to fit the storyline, essentially with the superhero thing, and etc. etc. They are really well played, really well portrayed, and I think everything are great when it comes to the characters, essentially. The art style are amazing in this game because it's essentially directly portrays how South Park essentially looks and feels, and that is one of the things that I really love about the South Park's game that have been released from Ubisoft recently. It was Stick of Truth and Factory Patrol. Yeah, really great animation, art style, yeah. The combat in this game are a little bit turned down for the previous game, if I recall, and it's a little bit disappointing in that regard, essentially. I think the previous game were amazing when it comes to comedy style, comedy timing, and everything about it was just amazing. The Factory Patrol have these moments, but they aren't as frequently as it was in Stick of Fruit. And I am, as I said, a little bit disappointed by that. And even though I like the comedy that they have in this game, it is more serious, and it wasn't, South Park Factory Patrol are essentially a great successor to Stick of Fruit. The storyline are interesting for the most part, but gets a little bit weirder in the end, which takes away some points in my opinion. It also have amazing characters, great art style, which is directly resembles the game, or the TV series I mean. But it also have the gameplay, which for the most part are slower than previous game, and I didn't find a lot of side quests when it comes to the RPG style, but if they're there, they're there, but I didn't find many, so I can't really say that much about them. When it comes to the comedy, which are a little bit turned down, which I think are a little bit sad, but yeah, they maybe wanted to make it more serious, I don't know, but the comedy are there, but it isn't that fun as it was. So, when it comes to regard comparing Stick of Truth, I don't bother. And the Fairy Patrol, I think Stick of Truth are a lot better than Fairy Patrol. And because of that, the fun about it, or so part of Fairy Patrol are going to be a 7.3 out of 10. That's all for today, folks. Until next time.